Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's now 5:30 p.m. Monday, November 9th, 2020. And I'm calling this meeting of the Paris City Council to order. The invocation will be led by Gene, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Ms. Portugal. Gene, if everyone stand, please.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, we're indeed thankful for your many blessings. We know, Father, that you watch over us and you care for us and you desire the good things for us. And we just pray that we would work worthy, Father, of our calling in Jesus Christ, and that you would guide and direct us. Bless our council tonight as they make many important decisions. And Father, help this city to prosper and be a glory to your name. For we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. Anyone wishing to address the council, please step up and give us your name and address. You'll have at least 2 minutes. Seeing no one, I will now close the Citizens Forum. Next is consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda that any council member wishes to have pulled for additional discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Item number 16, regular agenda. Discuss, conduct a public hearing, and act on an ordinance regarding the petition of the City of Paris, Texas to update zoning ordinance number 1710 of the City of Paris, Texas, specifically modifying regulations for residential uses in general retail and commercial zoning districts. Mr. Path.
Good evening, Council.
Hello.
Evening.
All right. The City Council had requested that the P&Z a couple months ago re-examine, consider a possible amendment to our zoning ordinances to allow for residential uses in a commercial and general retail districts. The P&Z met on this several times, I think 3 times, discussing it, looking at different options for what to do for residential uses. At its October meeting, the Commission determined that it preferred the option that residential uses, single-family residential uses, one-family dwelling units, both attached and detached dwellings, would be allowed under commercial and general retail zoning districts under an SUP, a special use permit. And this would include both existing structures and new construction. So again, I want to emphasize that single-family units in commercial and general retail districts with an SUP for new and existing structures. That's the recommendation by the P&Z. And so before you tonight is an ordinance that would do that very thing, and it would amend 2 sections of our zoning ordinances to allow that. And the Planning and Zoning Commission voted 4-0 at the last meeting to authorize this to go to you for consideration. So I'll answer any questions that I can. Otherwise, we can open the public hearing after that. So
I got one question. I think I know the answer, though, but if a structure was originally designed as a house, mm-hmm. and then a business moved into it, and then someone wanted to go back into it for a house, mm-hmm. they now have to get a specific use permit, right?
Under this ordinance, yes, they would, yes. And so if it's in a general or retail,
that was the only thing I had with it. If I had tinkered with it a little bit, I would have said if it was ever built as a house, we shouldn't have to go through the specific use permit. Sure. But I'm happy with this as it is. Certainly, it accomplishes it. Mm-hmm. But let's open up for public hearing first. Public hearing on this is open. Anyone wishing to discuss this, please step up. And seeing none, I will close the public hearing and open it up for council discussion. Do anyone have a question or a discussion on this?
Yes. As far as the situation we're having on the west side on 7th Street, would this fall under that also? With the new construction, if he was building a business?
Building a business or a home?
Well, he wants to build a shop and a home all together right there on that area.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yes.
Again, this ordinance is to amend to allow if it's commercial or general retail, and so I don't remember how that property is zoned right now.
okay.
I don't recall right now off the top of my head. I think it's commercial, but I don't recall. But if it's commercial, this would authorize him under SUP to do that. And so
Okay.
now there's other factors in that situation that would also need to look into this as well, and operating a business out of the home and so forth that play in that situation. But otherwise, just straight house, single family, if it's zoned commercial through an SUP in this ordinance, the council and plan zoning approved it, it would be allowed.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, I think in the years I've been on the council, we've approved a lot of SUPs. I can remember very few, if any, that we've denied, so it doesn't sound like it'd be a big stumbling block.
Yeah, I'm in favor of this as written simply because I think the planning and zoning and the future councils will use judgment and not deny someone the right to live in what's obviously a house. And they were even more liberal about it because they wanted even existing, non-existing houses, they could do new construction with a specific use permit. So that's what this amendment's going to do. But I have no problems with it as written, so. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this.
Make a motion to approve the attached ordinance amending city ordinance number 1710, sections 8-101 and 12-100 to allow single-family residential uses in commercial and general retail zoning districts by specific use permit and adding a definition for the specific use permit residential structures.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Next item is number 18, discuss, conduct a public hearing, 17, discuss, conduct a public hearing and act on a variance request for setback and placement of a new wireless communication facility located at 105 Northeast 19th Street, LCAD 17391. Ms. Harris, is this something we vote on today, or
It's something we vote on today. We'd have a public
We
hearing
can?
today
Okay,
and can vote on today because we have enough
we have
people
enough?
here.
All right.
I'm kind of pitching in a little bit on community development while we're kind of in an interim period, so I'm going to present these to you. Number 17 and number 18 are very similar. They're both applications for variances of the setback requirements for a 180-foot monopole. This item is for one on 105 Northeast 19th Street. What the ordinance on telecommunications towers provides is that there are no setbacks unless you're within 500 feet of something that's zoned residential. This one on 19th Street, they're asking for a 450-foot variance. The city council, the variance procedure is through the city council as opposed to the Board of Adjustment like other kinds of variances are. The hitch here is that in order to grant a variance, you have to find that they've met camouflaging requirements, and they're pretty strict. They say, it has to be masked and camouflaged so that it's transparent or invisible. I don't know that you can do that with a 180-foot monopole. We brought this to the attention of the applicants. Mr. David Wells is here today, and he's going to address you as well to tell you what they would like to do with this. They came back and they did some landscaping and fencing around the base of the tower. We told them we can't really, because of how strongly the ordinance is worded, give an affirmative recommendation on that, but he's talked with me today about painting. He's got a proposal for painting this pole to make it less visible and less obtrusive in the neighborhood. And given that, I've talked with Mr. Path, and staff is willing to just give a neutral recommendation and let council decide how they want to proceed with this. If you don't have any more questions, I would like Mr.
I've got
Wells to address you.
One question, the 450-foot variance, is that, explain what that, is that 50 feet from it, or is that?
It's 50
It's
feet
50
with
feet from a residential, so they're wanting a variance
a
from
residential district,
from
yes.
500 all the way down to 50 then? So, okay. All right. I just want clarification. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Wells, do you want him to talk before the public hearing?
Yeah, let's let him talk
Okay.
first.
I have a presentation I'd be happy to hand out if you guys would like to follow along.
Be fine.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was already there.
And while Mr. Wells is passing out his presentation, I neglected to make sure we put on the agenda, this is an item that requires 6 affirmative votes in order to grant the variance, and that's under the zoning ordinance provision.
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to come and address the City Council for the City of Paris. We appreciate the opportunity to bring this case to you. And my name is David Wells. I am representing Branch Towers and our anchor tenant, Bravado Wireless, for the purpose of requesting a variance for setback placement of a 180-foot monopole wireless communications facility. The tower is proposed to be located at 105 Northeast 19th Street in Paris. To tell you a little bit about our companies, Branch Towers is a nationwide wireless solution provider based in Tulsa. Branch Towers owns or manages approximately 700 towers in 30 states across the United States. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Together with our partner Bravado Wireless, we're respectfully requesting a setback variance to erect and operate a fixed-point, high-speed wireless internet network. The tower meets all requirements of the FAA and FCC. The tower also complies with all federal regulations such as the National Environmental Policy Act, and we have obtained concurrence from both the state and all tribal historic preservation offices as part of that NEPA approval. Pursuant to the FAA determination, there is no hazard to air navigation, and the tower will not be lit. The tower will be of monopole construction. It will be located within a 45 by 60 fenced lease area. And really, kind of the crux of the issue, as Ms. Harris spoke to, the setback variance, but also the camouflaging aspect of the WCF. To camouflage the site from the surrounding public, we're proposing a fence of wooden construction that will be surrounded by 14 cypress trees and 52 needlepoint holly shrubs. The WCF is located on a commercially zoned lot. As you know, WCF are permitted in commercial as well as light and heavy industrial zoning districts in the city of Paris. This area consists of a mixed use of commercial zone properties to the east and to the west, general retail to the south, and mixed family dwellings to the north. The site is approximately, as Ms. Harris said, 50 feet from the nearest residential structure, which is located on the lot to the south of the tower. The structure is 230 feet from Northeast 19th Street and 170 feet from another nearby single-family structure to the north. That said, the tower is designed to have a zero radius fall zone, which in layman's terms means if there were some sort of catastrophic act of God, the tower is designed to have a stress point where it will collapse on itself. Now, a tower collapse, act of God destruction, things like that, are very rare on a well-maintained tower. A well-maintained tower basically is a tower that We have a lot of structural capacity in the structure itself, but as we add equipment and that threshold of loading continues to go down, we must ensure, the tower owners, branch towers, that we are running structural analysis, keeping within the design parameters of the structural engineer's design criteria for that tower. And that's something we take very seriously. We run structural analysis anytime a carrier or customer wants to add equipment to a tower. In addition to cross wireless, the tower will be designed for use by at least 3 future co-locators. And Branch Towers is dedicated to sharing the tower with future users who may need wireless communication facility in the area in the future. This tower will provide a significant improvements to competitively priced broadband internet access in the city of Paris. And as you know, this last year we've had a lot of opportunities to see where home internet service helps us not only with our jobs, but with our children's education, among other things. And with all that in mind, we respectfully request your approval of this variance, and I'd be happy to walk you through the slides of the following pages here. As you can see on the next page, as I said, we're offering a fixed point, high-speed wireless internet. How that works is the tower itself will have microwave dishes on the structure. That dish is basically a link to your home, which would have a small antenna attached to it, which would pick up the wireless signal for the wireless internet service, and then distribute it either wirelessly or through a hardwire connection in your home or business or whatever the case may be. This next slide here is basically just a show an overview of the location. And this is really kind of what we get into when we come into site the tower. Obviously, as I said before, the ordinance allows for towers in commercial, in heavy industrial, and light industrial. There are pockets of commercial throughout the city, of course, as you know. However, there's such close relationship to residential zoned parcels, it creates a situation where really we kind of feel that the site is being zoned out because you can't meet the setback unless you go, several miles, in this case on the east side of town, south. It's about 1.5 miles to 2 miles to some light industrial zone parcels where you could meet that 500-foot setback. But anything in the area we're trying to accomplish here, there's just no viable properties under the ordinance. And as you move away from Kaufman, I believe it is, the east-west road there, and you go further north, you're going to come into a lot more residential as well as going south. And like I said, it's a couple of miles to those larger parcels where you could meet the setback. And unfortunately, the problem is that, the service objective or the coverage objective is the residential areas. We're trying to provide people with a low-cost, high-speed fixed wireless internet. And so we have to be closer to the population density that would be covered and benefit from the service. As you can see here on this next page, which is basically a survey, the site will be located in the back corner of this particular lot we are leasing. The house immediately to the south is the one where we were asking for relief of the setback. That house is approximately 50 feet from the tower. It is my understanding that's part of the duplexes that are there just immediately west, and it's my understanding that's a rental house. As you can see, to the east and to the west, we have commercial property, and then to the south, the general retail. The issue would be the one rental house there on the commercially zoned property, as well as the family house to the north. And then the next page here, you'll be able to see the landscape buffer we have proposed. There would, like I said, 14 cypress trees and 52 holly shrubs. We'll use a wooden fence to further shield the view from any surrounding public. And then you'll see on the next page a tower elevation showing the tower is designed for 4 carriers, which would offer infrastructure for any future carriers who might need to come in and get into that residential area. Even the wireless phone providers are offering broadband, as you know, through your handset. And where we're seeing the biggest growth in traffic continues to be the residential areas. People get home from work, they're going to be on their couch or in their house cooking whatever, interacting with their families for several hours at night. They don't really go anywhere. They kind of just stay on that network, and it creates a lot of congestion in the network, and which would lead to growth for future wireless infrastructure that we can provide to them as a co-location opportunity there in the city. I've also included copies of our FAA approval. The next page there is our Federal Communications Commission ASR registration, which we have already been compliant with the FCC. And then you'll see the following slide, a schematic of how we'll cover the city with these fixed wireless sites. The red being excellent coverage, the green just being slightly reduced coverage, and then the blue being no coverage. So you'll see between these two sites, we can cover all of the city of Paris and offer a very competitively priced fixed wireless internet service to your residents. So basically, in closing, just want to again reiterate that, you know, from this site, you'll see an immediate improvement of broadband internet access in Paris. And then also, we'll have infrastructure for future carriers who may need a site in the area. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to present this variance to the City Council. You know, again, we've seen the need in this last year for robust wireless internet service, and we, again, respectfully request your approval of this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Let's go ahead and do the public hearing now. The public hearing on this is now open. Anyone wishing to say anything in favor or in opposition to this, please come forward. Seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. I have a few questions for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
You said the coverage, well, first off, what is the speed of the connection going to be for your typical user?
I tell you, I'm a real estate and development guy. Chris Rule is the general manager of Crosstel, DBA Bravado Wireless,
Okay.
and he can answer any of those questions.
It'd be high speed, upwards of 100 meg.
Okay, and what will your ping be? Do you have any?
It'd be in the low 20s, 30s.
Okay. Will the speed drop off the farther you are from it, or?
It will, but we project in the red service area to be fiber compatible type speed.
Okay, what will the price point be, are you anticipated for your service?
Typically, it's going to be around $49.99, unlimited.
It'll be unlimited?
Yeah.
How responsive is it to when multiple people are on it? I know cable has a problem when multiple people are on it, everyone's speed slows down. Will y'all have the same effect, or will that?
It'll have the same effect, but when we build this location, and the reason why we're putting it closer to the users, it has a lot less effect.
Okay. Were the residents, and this may be a question, were the residents that are affected by this, I don't see anyone here, were they notified?
Yes.
And no one had an objection to it that we know of? Okay, as far as the tower itself, obviously it's kind of hard to camouflage that thing, but what are your plans for painting it or you have any plans for making it less
That's an
visible?
option, based on the desire. Personally, I think that the galvanized is less obtrusive than, you know, a blue or whatever that sometimes you see a tower painted. I think,
Okay.
personally, that's my opinion. I think it makes them stick out more, but, you know, some people say it doesn't.
Okay, anyone else on the council have any questions about this?
And I apologize, Mayor Clifford. I intended to speak to that. When Stephanie and I spoke a few weeks ago, and she informed me of the camouflage requirement, and it's really an oversight on my part and for not having seen that as part of the variance process. You know, we at that time kind of said, hey, maybe the best thing to do, and this is my personal opinion, like I share with Chris, that a lot of times if you paint that tower, it really kind of brings it out more than it camouflages it.
Okay.
I've seen towers that were painted sky blue that really just stand out in a blue sky, where the galvanized finish kind of blends in. Now, it doesn't matter to us one way or another. We're happy to paint the structure. It doesn't cost us much, and if it makes the city happy with the structure, we want to make you guys happy too.
So I think I know, but the current availability of high-speed internet in Paris would be Suddenlink for sure. What other, and a satellite, which obviously no
Well,
one has.
there's a WISP out at the country club that covers the country club area. A wireless internet service provider. There's a small one out there, and there's you know, it's more rural, on the outskirts of community, because there's really no structures on the inner part of the city for a wireless provider.
So this will provide an additional option for.
Yes, yes.
And you're not required to buy a cable TV too.
Correct. And if you look at the coverage, we kind of said, you know, we're going to let the current provider that covers the country club cover that area. So if you look at the coverage, we want to cover the main population centers and homes that are within the city center.
Okay, the antennas that receive this at the homes, what do they look like?
They're small.
So they're not obtrusive in
No.
neighborhoods?
This is a high band spectrum.
Do they have to be mounted on a pole above the house, or how does that work?
They can be, but typically they're just mounted on the side.
Okay. And it's straight line of sight is what it has to be.
It is line of sight, but that's why we're trying to bring the structures closer in, right?
Okay.
And so that you don't have to go up in elevation.
All right, I'll let the council ask any other questions. Keep in mind, this has to pass unanimously or it dies, okay? So all 6 of us have to vote for it. If one votes against it, it will kill it, so.
Who will be maintaining the towers as far as maintenance when something goes wrong?
Yes, ma'am. Chris will maintain, Bravado will maintain their equipment on the tower itself, the radios and the antennas. Branch Towers, being the tower owner, we have maintenance contracts with various contractors across the country. We come in at least once a quarter, maintain, make sure that there's no grass growing up in the compound, no grass growing around the compound. We spray just to keep grass from, and we put fabric down to keep grass from growing up and being a nuisance. We also do an annual inspection of the tower, and if there's any sort of, a lot of times you have a property owner who's out there and he says, hey, maybe somebody cut your fence or somebody came in and unlocked it. We have quick response teams that come in and handle those types of things.
I just have a couple of questions. Do we have anything similar, and I guess this is for Stephanie, do we have anything similar in the area that would require a setback approval like this?
Do we have other applications for
No,
monopoles?
have
or-
we have, in the past, have we had anything?
We have had something similar. It's the tower that got built, I think it was 150 feet, on First Northwest maybe. But that didn't require a variance because while there was a residential structure within 500 feet, what the ordinance says is if it's within 500 feet of a residentially zoned piece of property, and that particular home was a home built in a commercial district. So they didn't have to have the variance. But as far as I know, this is That was the only other time we've had anything remotely like this.
Okay, and just to piggyback off Renee's question, as far as additions and maintenance, you said something about maybe adding more as you get other business or something like that. With those additions or those, would that require city approval as far as city engineer or something like that when you make additions to the tower?
To additions like new providers
Yes.
going up.
Yes.
I think our ordinance provides that as many as 4 can go on a particular structure. And I would have to look to see if that, each one had to have a separate permit. I don't think so, but I don't want to lie to you.
I would agree with Stephanie. That's the way I interpreted the ordinance as
Okay.
well.
And with your experience with these towers, are they pretty safe to be in the, as close as they will be in the residential areas? Are they safe? And I know, an act of God, there's nothing you can't plan for that, but just in your experience.
Yeah, I tell you, I've been in the industry 23 years now, and up until about 5 years ago, I could tell you I had never seen a tower turned over because of a storm or something like that here in Tornado Alley. We deal with this a lot. It can happen.
But, yeah.
That said, the only time I'm aware of a tower failing, they fall on themselves. They bend over. They don't fall like a tree. They really kind of just bend over on themselves. And I'm aware of 2 structures in Oklahoma that failed in the 2011, 2012, the one that got the elementary school in Oklahoma City, was that 2012? Yeah. And Councilman Savage, I'm telling you, the entire neighborhood was gone.
Yeah.
Really, this will be the strongest structure in the area. The TIA, EIA, they're constantly changing their loading thresholds, I guess you could say. And it really kind of started after Katrina, where they started saying, hey, this one size fits all doesn't fit our country. We have regional areas where you're going to have coastal winds here, you're going to have straight winds there. You might have any winds, up here. And so they kind of started tailoring the structural standards for specific areas, and that's Rev H, and that's what we're designing the tower to. It's the newest Rev. We've all seen tornadoes all of our lives, and I'd hate to see the storm that would take this thing down.
So they're pretty safe.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Because
you.
everything else would be gone too.
Thank you.
Whose districts are these 2 located in?
One would be,
The
what's
one,
that, the road, 1902 is like that. It's gonna be
I
2,
think one is in 4.
2 and
One is at 105 Northeast 19th, and one is at 1902 Bonham. And I'm sorry, I didn't check out whose districts they were in.
It's on the east.
Is it north of Bottom or south of Bottom?
It's either 3 or 4.
I'm not sure.
I think I can see here. No,
North,
This is on the north side.
north.
North side, so it would be 4.
it'd probably be my district, yeah. It'd be my district, one of them.
4 or 2.
I was, so I would say, again, I'm pleased no residents were opposed to this, because that would have been something that we would have definitely considered. But as I view it, this is bringing a competitive service for internet, and everybody's got to have internet. And most of us only have one choice right now, one viable
On the
choice.
east side is gonna be in Linda's district,
Okay,
and I believe the west is gonna be
Gonna be mine.
District 2 or 4.
Yeah, 2 or 4, depending on what side of the street it's on.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
I think it's gonna be 2.
Yeah.
anyone else have any questions or comments or discussion?
Yes, the equipment used on the homes, is that high stable, or is that gonna be, and is that extra price as far as the equipment on the homes?
Yeah, it looks like a little pizza box. It's not very big. kind of
It's gonna be smaller than the HughesNet antenna then. It's gonna be just a,
yeah, it's a little pizza box.
that antenna's not, but like this. I mean, it's just a little wire thing.
And
kinda.
and we lease
I mean, you
it,
hardly even see it.
so we lease it over a period of time.
Smaller than a Dish Network dish.
Yes, yeah, it's a little pizza box,
Okay.
And they're all over the place, too.
yeah. So,
I'm glad to see y'all came to Paris. We need you.
well, thank you. We've acquired a lot of spectrum to serve this area, so we're looking forward to it.
I have one more question. I'm a gardener, and you've got to be tough to be a gardener in Texas in the summer. When these shrubs and trees are planted, they've got to be watered a lot the first year. Do you have a plan for that?
We've learned the hard way.
Okay.
Our first few sites we built were in Oklahoma City. They have and this was back in 2011. The namesake of the company has been building towers for quite a while, but he had some financing from a equity company. And so the first few towers we built as Branch Communications were in Oklahoma City, and they were in parking lots, and they have a landscaping ordinance, and we planted a couple of different rounds of. So I would propose we can get water trucks to come in and water, once a week or, something along those lines, just so that they do get that first good growth season and kind of establish their roots.
Any other comments or questions? Well, yeah, well, yes, ma'am, you come on up, talk to us. You're welcome to. Give us your name and address, please, ma'am.
Belinda Daniels, 741 West Gary Street. What about the contracts? How long they go?
2 years.
2 years? And if you don't like the company or whatever, you have to pay a penalty or something?
No, we have a 30-day return, no questions asked.
Okay, so do y'all have like a trial? basis?
30 days.
30 days, okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome, yes, ma'am. All right, with no further discussion, I'll make a motion that we approve the variance request for a setback for this new wireless communications facility at 105 Northeast 19th Street.
Second.
All in favor? We got 6 votes. It passed. And item number 18 is the same thing for the second parcel of the land. Discuss, conduct a public hearing, and act on a variance request for setback and placement of a new wireless communication facility located at 1902 Bonham Street, LCAD 17245.
Same deal. It is further away from residential properties. It's a 375 setback variance. So it's 125 feet from the nearest residential.
Okay.
But
I'll open the
everything
public-
else is fine.
I'll open the public hearing on this one. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. If there's any other comments on this,
I'll make a motion that we pass the variance request for setback and placement of the new wireless community facility located on 1902 Bonham Street, LCAD 17245.
Second.
we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Need all 6. It's unanimous. You guys got it. Thank you. All right, item number 19, discuss and act on a resolution canvassing the results for the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2020 for Council District 2, declaring the winner in said election, declaring the terms of office, making other findings and provisions related to the subject, and providing an effective date. Ms. Ellis.
Okay, November the 3rd, we had the general election for District 2. Ed Darnell received a total of 167 votes. Reginald B. Hughes received a total of 221 votes. So I'm asking you to approve the resolution tonight, declaring Reginald B. Hughes elected to City Council Member District 2.
Okay. So.
I just need a
we need
motion.
We need to just approve, we need to make a motion to approve, okay?
Yes.
You want to make a motion there?
I make a motion to approve
Is that Derek?
That's appropriate.
and accepting the election the way it was. Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Thank
You're
you.
gone. And item number 20, don't go anywhere yet. Recognition of outgoing council member Derek Hughes. And I don't even have anything on this other than, I got a plaque to give you, and I want to thank Mr. Hughes. I've worked with him for several years, and it's been a pleasure. And we're losing one Hughes and gaining another one. So, but we have a plaque to commemorate you for dedication and outstanding service to the city of Paris, Texas.
And you'll always know what year that picture was taken.
We won't say, what year was that? I don't remember. I don't know, it may be more years than
Oh, it
that.
could be, don't say it.
Thank you. And item number 21, issuance of certificate of election, administer statement of elected officer to council member, and administer oath of office to newly elected council member. Mr. Hughes.
If you face those people, if you'll raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Reginald B. Hughes. Do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully. Execute the duties. Of the office. City Council Member District 2. Of the City of Paris. State of Texas. And will to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. The Constitution. And laws of the United States. And of this state. And the Charter. And ordinances of this city. So help me God. Okay.
Glad to have you.
Okay, item number 22, first order of business when we have a new council seated is to elect the mayor. The floor is open for nominations for mayor. Go ahead.
I'd like to nominate Steve Clifford.
Okay, got a nomination. Any other nominations? All right, no, close the nominations. All in favor of, I guess, me being mayor again for six more months. This only gonna last till May. So raise your hand. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. And the floor is open for nominations for Mayor Pro Tem.
I nominate Paula Portugal.
Okay, I've got a nomination for Ms. Portugal. Any other nominations? All right, all in favor of Ms. Portugal, raise your hand. Okay, it looks like Paul and I have it for 6 more months. And thank you all, I appreciate your support. Next is now item number 23, discuss and act on the city manager's proposal for the creation and advertisement for department heads consisting of the Director of Planning and Community Development as well as City Engineer.
All right, with Carla Easton's recent resignation, she was both city engineer and community development director all in one position, and so it is now my task as city manager to go about trying to fill the position as a department head, and which again, per the city charter, I would then bring to you for appointment once I found an individual to bring to you. As with any vacancy, it's always a good opportunity to re-examine the position and see how does it work in our operations. Is there changes we can make, things we can do differently? And so as I dug into this, I looked considerably into the role this position has for our community as both engineer and community development director, looked at other communities, how they operate with their departments, looked at our needs that we have, our current staffing, and so forth, put it all together, and there are several options we could pursue with this. I would propose, though, that I think there's enough work and enough requirements and enough asked of the position to warrant 2 department heads for this position. One, a separate city engineer role, and another one, we would combine the budgeted city planner position with the community development director role and create a director of planning and community development. And so I've given you draft job descriptions that I propose for this position. Again, I do think there's enough work to keep these individuals busy, and the work product we would get from 2 individuals would be outstanding. And so it's a lot of asked of one person for these roles here. I'd entertain any questions you have about this, but otherwise I would request permission to, given I would be creating a new department head, I felt it appropriate that I come to you seeking the permission first before adding a new position, new department head to the list, to the roster. But otherwise, with your permission, I would then go forth and advertise for 2 positions starting this week, because I'm acting interim and community development director, and I need a position to fill in for me. And so,
Okay, any questions for Mr. Path?
So we're creating another job, so how did, you said enough, so is there enough money?
yes, and so obviously, 2 things. In the current budget, we had budgeted for Miss Easton's salary, which she had been here for a few years, so she moved in steps. But then we also budgeted for a city planner, and those 2 roles there. And so combine the 2, given how much we've already spent so far this year versus how much we would soon to spend on these 2 roles. Now, again, we have step 1 to step 8, so I try to always negotiate step 1, but if you get a qualified talented person, you may have to sometimes negotiate a little higher step. But assuming a step 1, we would have enough money this year to cover that. In year 2, we would go a little bit beyond what we forecasted to spend, but again, in year 3 and 4, we would be spending a little bit more because we'd have 2 department head level positions versus a department head and a subordinate position. But I do think the work product that we would get from this would far outweigh the expense long-term for these positions, so. Yep.
So since you're splitting the role up, would there be any additional tasks added, because you're splitting the work up now?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can justify it, but would there be any additional tasks added to each role to even make it more productive or more beneficial to the city?
Yeah, in both positions, there are currently some tasks that are kind of unclaimed by employees right now. For instance, code enforcement. I'm currently overseeing that right now, but I would that wasn't the fire department before I arrived. I moved it out because it didn't quite fit there. So I would move that under the director of planning and community development, as well as we have several roles like the airports, TxDOT, CDBG. Roles that they're just kind of sitting out there that we have staff kind of tagged with because they were there, and so we have added some defined roles. Also, too, between our subdivision ordinances, if you read those, it's heavy city engineer, and so that would be more clearly put in that role. And then zoning, we'd have a zoning administrator plus a city planner. That's actually a new role that we were going to add this year: a comprehensive plan, future growth, advising the P&Z and city council on new plats and new zoning requests and those things. That's a role that we've done, but I feel we can do better and more efficiently. And so I wouldn't say necessarily a lot of new roles, but again, we always add in there other duties as assigned. And so as we think of things, if we add things, we'll definitely add more roles to them. But I think this will actually land duties we have right now that are kind of floating right now.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
Well, I am thrilled with the new position. You plan before you engineer.
Yes.
And we've been doing without a planner for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to add so much to our organization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very pleased.
Yeah, I appreciate this, Mr. Path. It looks like you've given a lot of thought to it, and I saw all the things you had written down about the job descriptions, and I think it's a very logical thing since we were going to be adding the planner anyway to create this new position. So technically, we still have 2 employees, but I'm very much in favor of approving you for doing this. Any comments? Anybody else?
Do you already have somebody like in-house, or are you planning on going outside?
We always advertise internally as well as externally. I'd rather not say if we have anyone internally just in case, and so you never know.
I'm just wondering
so,
if you were going outside or in-house.
Yeah, we definitely would look outside for sure. And so given the qualifications I have, we definitely need to open it up to outside. And so, but again, since I don't know everyone's background, there could be a hidden gem somewhere that I don't know about yet. But we definitely want to advertise out externally.
There's actually a graduate degree in planning and public administration. So it's a highly specific oriented position.
Yes, yep.
All right, any further questions? Do we need a motion here to authorize this? Okay. I'll make a motion, we authorize the city manager to advertise for a new director of planning and community development as well as a new city engineer.
Second.
All in favor? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And this, oh, sorry. Okay. Item number 24, Mr. Savage is needing to leave, so we'll see you next time. Item number 24, discuss and approve the confirmation of the city manager's appointment of Ron Hervey as interim library director.
Priscilla McNally as library director has announced her retirement for effective December 31st, 2020. And so it's my task to go about trying to fill the position. Given the number of positions I have open right now, there's going to be a need, there's going to be a time period that to have someone at the helm helping me out to carry the role forward until I can fill a position. And so I'm bringing to you tonight Ron Hervey. He has 22 years of experience to fill as the interim library director role until I can fill the position. Ron is sitting right over here, and so again, he's got 20 years of experience with the library. He's currently the library supervisor, as I believe, right now. And yes, and so he's been working with Mix McNally now for a couple months now to kind of get used to the role and what's expected of them. I would assume to be no less than 3 months, if not more, that he would be serving in this role, and until I can find a person to fill that position permanently. So, but again, I know this is not a new permanent position, but given it in the spirit of Section 23 of the Charter, I thought it'd be good to bring this forward. That way, you know who my interim would be, and then seek your approval of this person as we would a normal department head going forward.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Path? Or all right, we'll need a motion for this.
Make a motion to approve the confirmation of the city manager's appointment of Ron Hervey as interim library director.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you, Mr. Path. And the next one's similar. Discuss and approve the confirmation of the city manager's appointment of Russell Thrasher as interim EMS director.
Yes, Kent Klinkerman, EMS director, is set to retire November 30th, and so a little bit sooner but same situation. I'd like to bring for you tonight Russell Thrasher. He is here tonight. He is our current EMS Shift B supervisor to serve as the interim EMS director. He has over 20 years of experience with the EMS department. He is currently training with Mr. Klinkerman to learn the roles with this position. And again, this would be interim, and I would go to work trying to fill the position long term. But again, I would see no less than 3 months, if not more, as serving an interim role, given my current workload of current positions to hire here. So, again, I would ask your permission. I would ask for your approval of Mr. Thrasher.
All right. Any questions of Mr. Path? All right, we'll entertain a motion on this one.
I entertain a motion to confirm the city manager's appointment of Russell Thrasher as interim EMS director.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. Item number 26, discuss and act on considering the qualifications of Alfred Benich and Company to serve as a third-party engineering firm for the purpose of auditing the utility bond package number 4 project and authorize city manager to negotiate the scope of services.
At the October 12th City Council meeting, City Council agreed that we would like to meet with a qualified engineering firm to consider developing a scope of service audit to audit the utility bond package number 4 project. I've identified Alfred Benich and Company as a qualified engineering firm to bring for you tonight for you to consider whether you'd like to negotiate a scope of service with them or not. I've worked with them in the past. My last posting, we have a very positive experience. They have a lot of experience in large capital utility-related projects. And so we have Jeff Sockel tonight, as well as Tim O'Brien from Omaha, Nebraska, Alfred Benich, the office there. And they're going to present to you their qualifications. At the conclusion of this, once you've spoken with them, asked them questions, once you've kind of reviewed their qualifications, I'd ask that you make a determination whether you'd like to pursue working with them. With that, I would then request that you then authorize me to negotiate a scope of service to bring back to you at the next meeting. This would line out what the work would look like and entail. It would also include a price point for you to consider at that point. Otherwise, other options would be to either seek out other firms or to go a different direction entirely. And so With that, I will introduce Jeff Sokol and Tim O'Brien here, and I will get their presentation on the slideshow.
Good evening. Thank you for the time today. Let Grayson pull all that up. While he's doing that, I guess I am Jeff Sokol. I'm a senior vice president with Alfred Benish & Company based out of Omaha, Nebraska. I've been in the industry since 1992, graduate engineering degree from Kansas State University, licensed professional engineer in multiple states, and currently pursuing licensure in Texas. Kind of to get started, I guess a little bit of history of our involvement with Grayson to kind of provide some backdrop. Grayson's former community that he served, City of Nebraska City, Nebraska, was a lifelong, or not a lifelong, but a long-term partner with Alfred Benish Company and the company that I worked before that, HWS Consulting Group. HWS and Benish merged in 2010 to form the company that is Benish today. We've kind of starting at the beginning from Benish and kind of walk you through the slides. Some of this information was presented in the packet that we provided to Grayson in advance of the meeting. Benish was founded in 1946 in Chicago, Illinois, primarily working on transportation projects, roads and bridges. We added services in water, wastewater, water transmission, storm sewer, various water-related underground facilities back in the 1980s. In 2000, we began major efforts in program management and program improvement for various clients. Myself and Tim O'Brien have been, for the past 20 years, been working together with the City of Omaha and others to improve their program and their processes. And so we understand not only design and construction, but also the planning, the project development, and then the execution of that project, and then also the maintaining of that project post-construction. Back in 2010, with the HWS merger with Benish, we added services of materials testing and geotechnical engineering to provide that subsurface engineering, soils engineering services. And today, besides those services, we provide a variety of other services in water resources, traffic and transportation planning, aviation, railroads, and facilities. Let's see, next slide, please. I should say, our primary client base is public agencies, or what we call quasi-public agencies, which would be utility companies, water districts, railroads, entities that operate similar to a public agency, not a for-profit entity. We do some work for the private sector, but 90+% of the work we do is all focused on public agencies. Relevant experience that we think is important for this council to understand what Benish brings to the table. Obviously, as I said, we do roads and bridges, we do water, wastewater. Most importantly is we are a public sector provider. That's what we serve. We serve entities that serve the public. We understand how to work in that realm, and we understand what it takes for you and your team to execute a project from cradle to grave on that. When you look at entertaining an audit, and we completely understand that this is a concern or questions that this council has for how this project has gone. Grayson and Michael from the Public Works Department gave us an in-depth tour of the project today, so we don't have an intimate detail of the project, but we have reviewed the project areas this afternoon with them. The type of construction you do here is the type of construction that is seen all over the country, so it's nothing new to myself or to Tim or our project team there, so there's nothing surprising. But really what is key to an audit, if you choose to go forward with this, is you need to understand the contractual obligations, which that concern has been raised. Tim and I both have viewed the council video from the September meeting, so understand the dynamic and some of the concerns there. I think there's a little bit more conversation we would like to have with you directly about making sure we understand those concerns. But on a wholesale level, we do understand what it is that you're questioning and understand what the nature of this project was. You really need, in our opinion, somebody to provide an objective review of really what it pertains to your concerns and your questions. Something that focuses on the facts, something that provides a basis for this council to make decisions on paths forward and where they want to go. And really, it's really about, in the slide you're looking at today, the top 3 check boxes, the 3 what's there, those 3, what was expected, required, requested, really led to what was done or what was not done. And that's really, I think, the fundamental question that this council has is, was the project executed according to what was supposed to be done? And if not, where did it go wrong? And that is something I think that we can help pull those facts together independently to be able to do that. One thing that I've talked with Grayson about as he approached me from our past relationship to ask, if we were to be selected to do this, how will we do it? The thing that we thought was most important is that we make it a scalable approach, and that is something that has milestones in it, so that as we were navigating through the process, if the findings were starting to paint a picture that gave you the decisions you need, is you had the ability to stop and not continue, not be locked into a contract for us to go forward. It was, something I would say gives you the ability to control how the money is being spent, to make sure that the cost benefit to the constituents you represent is there. And if you get to a point where you don't feel that there's no longer that cost benefit, or your questions are answered, regardless of whether or not we're done with the totality of the scope of work, is that you've got that option to say, okay, thank you for your time, we're done, and we have what you need, and go forward from there. So that was something that we thought was very critical to that. As we looked at performing the audit, we thought about, okay, what to you is going to be critical for the expertise that you're going to be hiring to do this? Now, there are individuals within our company that check all of these bullet points, but that is probably not the totality of the team that you're going to need, because that is not the most efficient way to execute an audit for this project. But you need somebody that understands contract documents and how projects are developed and how contract documents are implemented and interpreted. You need people that understand all phases of a project, from planning to design to construction. And then you need people that understand utility construction specifically, and how those installations coordinate with other facilities in the area and how those affect the way the work is performed. You need people that understand, there were temporary provisions put in place to reopen the roads sooner before permanent features could be done. You need people to understand phase construction and how everything comes together so that you can minimize the impact to the public. You need people that understand working with relationships that are multi-entities. In this case, you've got 3 different firms, 2 consulting firms, 1 contracting firm, and you have the city staff. So you've got several players, you've got different chains of communication and different processes and different involvement, different levels of involvement throughout the process, and understanding how that goes. And then finally, you need people that understand how projects get built and what's the phasing sequence and how do those phases interact with each other? How does that relate to a project schedule? And then maybe not as direct to this, but maybe more so of how is the public communication aspect there? So you're establishing how is the project going to get done, and how are the expectations set for your constituents and your council and your staff for doing that. And I think we bring a pretty good skill set to that can really help you out with that. With that, I'll let Tim talk a little bit more about the process.
Good evening. My name is Tim O'Brien. I served for the City of Omaha for 28 years. 14 of those 28 years, I was the construction engineer. And during that time, I went through a 6-year lawsuit. I've gone through a handful of mediations with contractors, and I understand the process that it goes through to perform an audit and what you're looking for in that process. In my experience through that time, I also discovered that it's a process of developing and drilling down to the facts. Everybody knows that construction projects always have variations in them, whether it be design changes, whether it be related to change orders, construction sequencing, materials, whatever it may be, there's always variations in regard to that. And the process of drilling down and getting through all that is the process that helps you answer your questions and address your concerns. I'm sorry. As you can see, our process is basically we want to work with the council. We want to be an extension of your staff and work with you to establish the key areas of concern and to address those. During that process of establishing the audit parameters and interim review milestones, as Jeff was talking about, once you've set those parameters and you start drilling down on the different areas that you have concern with, you may find that we've addressed the concern or the question that you have. There's no reason to keep going on in that particular area with those elements of construction. As far as review the contract documents and the requirements, we're very capable of reviewing those contracts. Jeff and I, myself, have put together a number of contracts over our time. We also built the specifications for the City of Omaha and revised them and put out a new program associated with that. Review the key decisions and the directives. That's understanding what took place during the process of construction. What was the correspondence that took place between staff, the engineering firm, and the contractor, and understanding what changes or elements of construction changed and how that affected time, how that affected money, what materials were brought in, what submittals were submitted or not submitted. And then the execution and the relevant project elements. Basically, we're looking at a water and sanitary sewer installation. There's different means and methods associated with the installation of that, as well as the roadway that was put back in. So looking at each one of those elements, as I said, identifying those parameters that you're concerned with and what questions you may have, that's where we drill down and look at that. And then obviously we prepare a final summary associated with that. So overall the process is you start with a contract and you have the set of plans and the original contract. And typically in the past when I've had to deal with this, I've always started with a construction timeline. So you have the contract and a construction timeline. And as you go through that construction timeline, you're looking at the different correspondence, the changes that took place during that timeline, and how it affects the overall contract. Overall, the benefit from a third-party review, we're qualified in reviewing this. We've done, I don't know, we've probably done over 100 projects together. And in my tenure at the city, I started out in inspection, I went to design, I became the structures manager, and then I became the construction engineer for the city. We've had multiple projects such as this, as well as large paving projects, bridge projects that we've had to deal with contractors. We don't have a financial interest in this. Basically, we know Grayson, and we've been a part of working with him in the past, and more of a mutual relationship. We wanted to come down and assist him in this, in regard to this. Our financial gain or loss isn't related to what we find. And then the ability to identify future contract requirements. When we've gone through this before with the city, when I was there, basically we found out different findings that we wanted to implement as we developed further contracts. So in that process, it's not only a lessons learned, you get the benefit of addressing those things for future work that you may have. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys may have.
Well, I've got a couple. Will you have access to Oscar Renda's books so you can, or will they be sharing that with you, or will that be something you won't be able to have access to?
That would be up to them. I mean, we don't have any legal authority to demand that. You know, it would
So,
go
like,
back to what your contract says.
Because
with
there's a
them.
lot of things that would be in their books, such as whether they employed flaggers. I mean, is a simple thing. That would be something they could provide you, the employment record of flaggers or something like that.
That could be there. It should be in the inspection notes
And
as
all
well.
the parts that were purchased in the United States, they should be able to verify that to you, or tell you which ones they got from China, which we know several did. So, okay, that was one question I had. Will you be able to, if you find that there have been significant corners cut, will you have the ability to estimate the cost savings for the contractor in cutting those corners? Will you be able to give us an estimate of how much money the contractor saved by not doing what was in the contract, assuming that's what you find?
Possibly. I guess it depends on the nature of the information that's available to us. Probably more the impact is going to be is what was or wasn't done, and I guess looking at this is, you know, this is through the duration of the project. So this is, you know, this is not, I guess, for lack of a better term, we're not on this for a witch hunt. This is a factual finding for this council to act. But, you know, it would start with what took place in design as far as setting the expectations, and then carry that through construction. And so, yes, to identify things like flaggers were required but not provided. If the records that we are provided or the information that we can ascertain is there, then yes, we would point that out. And I suppose, I guess you could determine a cost from that, but I'm not sure because I don't know what information I would have.
Okay, and I assume there won't be any digging involved in this, will there? Or will there need to be any digging up of anything, or is it going to be purely?
No, I think from what we saw today, most of the areas are either getting close to being finished or are finished. There's no reason to do any investigative work at this time. I think we would look at project records.
Okay, and will there be any, so there won't be any investigation with cameras or anything through the pipes? Is that beyond the scope of what you're going to be doing?
If that was something that was desired, we could do that. I think that testing has already been done based upon that. So we could review that, but it's our understanding there's no concern other than you had the one issue with the two water main bores that connected and the straw not being put in. But by and large, otherwise, the pipes themselves seem to be functioning properly from what we understand.
Okay.
If there was fact-finding, or if we get into a lawsuit deal later down the road with Oscar Renda or some kind of payment back, I mean, y'all will be able to go and on our behalf as professionals in the field to be able to bring your findings to a court of law if that was something that came to?
Yeah, that our thought on this scope of work is a fact-finding only, so we will be not going into this looking to assign blame, but rather to identify here's the facts of the situation for you to make there. I guess, yes, Benish has served as a professional witness before. I've served as a professional witness before. Tim has as well. So if that service was desired, if that was where this went, yes, we could do that if you wanted to do that. But that would not be part of our initial scope of work.
So there'll be a staff member here in Paris at all times until the project is completed?
So we envision that the work we could do could be done remotely, because to have somebody here full-time to review records and everything that could be transmitted adds a cost to you that is probably not a necessary cost. I do envision that there's probably going to be some time that we will have either myself or Tim or another engineer with our company that's qualified to do what we're doing, come down to gather records, meet with you, review that. But in terms of, we're not trying to replace EST or other city staff for monitoring what's happening on the project today to the end. As I understand it, and watching the concerns of the council from the meeting in September, is the concern is more about, what's been done from start to, really to today, because they're not quite done yet. But there were a lot of concerns around 17th Street, what happened on Martin Luther King, and that's all happened in the past. So having somebody here is probably a cost that doesn't provide a benefit to you at this time.
Well, like the road cuts that are failing, where they're obviously weren't impacted properly, will that be something you'll be assessing?
Correct, yes.
Because you kind of
Looking
got to
at-
look at that to.
Yeah, looking at test data.
Drive down the road and you kind of got to get new shocks after a while. Some of them are so bad.
Yes.
That's part of the process of developing that construction timeline, because that section of road at some point in time was being designed, or being constructed. And when you're looking at that construction or that timeline, then you're looking at the test results that were associated with it. Any design changes that took place, the correspondence that took place between the contractor and everybody. So within that, then you can start drilling down as to potentially why there is an issue with that particular street segment.
Okay, now I just want to make sure that you can do some of that. Obviously, a lot of it remotely, but seems to me somebody have to be here looking at this, inspecting it at some point.
So my first job was in construction materials testing, and I have a lot of experience in materials testing and geotechnical engineering to understand that. The stuff that we saw today is very typical of a settling trench, just based on location and the fact you have a flexible pavement on top of it. The pavement is settling out with the soils underneath. So reviewing that test data is going to be critical to understanding if that is truly why that's happening or if there's another issue there.
How will you assess whether or not, I think the contract said no more than 50 feet, correct me if I'm wrong, if open trench was ever to be exposed at any given time? How will you assess whether or not more than 50 feet were exposed? And how will you assess whether they filled the backfill in at the end of the day as they were required to? And how will you assess whether they made the driveways accessible? How will you be able to, I was just wondering, without Oscar Renda's cooperation, how will you be able to assess that?
I think looking at project records from EST, looking at pay estimates to see, how much work was being requested to be paid tied to the timeline is there. I mean, there's a lot of ways to try to at least recreate a picture. It may not be 100% accurate, but it will give an idea of that. And then comparing that to what was in the contract for what was allowed, what was not allowed, will help determine that. I think to answer that question it may be that information is not all there, so we may hit a point where we can say we can't definitively say one way or the other. That's there, but that would be the starting point is there's data in the project and the progress of the project that will help create that, like to Tim's point, to the timeline. If they're doing, if they can only have 50 feet of trench open a day and we get to the end of a week and they're asking for payment of 500 feet, well, there's only 7 days in a week. So, there's things like that could be looked at to understand that. As I understand it, there was options for multiple crews on multiple sites. This is something that we deal with a lot. One of the programs that we run for the City of Omaha is a resurfacing program that is fundamentally very similar to how this project has been executed. It's multiple small projects in many locations, possibly concurrent activities going on, and we create and document that timeline for our client every day, and we've been doing it since 2004.
Welcome to Paris, Texas. We're glad you're here. And a good, understandable presentation. I like the way you put what was expected, required, requested, what was done or not done. I think put in a nutshell kind of our concerns. About how long is this process approximately?
It depends on how deep or how broad you want us to go with it. I think, we're probably looking to have some preliminary answers in a month or two. I mean, this isn't a year-long investigation, at least to start off with, as Tim and I both talked about, having those interim milestones for you to evaluate what we're finding. Are we going the direction you really want us to go? Because we're working as an extension of you. Is going to be important to that to understand, and I think some of that has to come sooner rather than later before you go. If you are going to go down a path of legal, for example, or some other some other path is, that is going to bring a much longer timeline because that's going to be a deeper dive and attorneys are going to have say in what gets looked at and what information is shared. But for a review of the documents that are available today, the documentation that's available today, I think something sooner rather than later to give you a picture of where we think it's going will be helpful for you to decide if you want to keep going or not.
Thank you. It was helpful that you laid out the process.
Anyone else have any questions?
I'm under firm belief that they're definitely qualified. I've read some of your company bios and some other things before the meeting, and then obviously hearing y'all's presentation was enough for me to say I'm comfortable with that, and I value Grayson's opinion greatly because he's the man at the helm. So I'm all about it.
And I'll echo that too. I was impressed with your presentation, and I think Grayson did a good job picking you guys out. And,
Grayson, I think it's something to say too, and they've said it a couple of times. If we go down the road and we find maybe the couple of things that we think could be the issue, or if we get going down the road and there is, it looks pretty clean and everything's up to date, and we can kind of turn it off and move on either way. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that's the case, I don't want to waste y'all's time, and y'all don't want to waste ours, and I think that's commendable.
So at this point, what I would recommend is that you authorize me to work with Alfred Benish and Company to negotiate a scope of service. Our next meeting is not until December, I can't remember the date, December 15th, I think, or so. So I would bring that back to you for you to look at. In the meantime, please, by all means, if you have concerns individually, if you want to email me or talk to me individually, that can help me as I work the scope. As I get drafts, I can also consider email it out to the council as well, just individually, for you to look at it. So if you want to look at it as well. So, but otherwise, the process would be Alfred Benish would provide me a proposed scope of service, and then we would review it and determine if that's going to meet our request and so forth. And then I bring it back to you at the December meeting. And then if you approve it, we would start. Again, part of this too is we have to look at funding as well. And again, we've not priced this out yet because this is not a normal service that usually you pursue. And so we'll have to look at the cost of this, and we'll bring the information back to the next meeting and go from there. So we won't have results of audits in a month from now. It would be a month from the time we start, but we would start the process between now and then to start negotiating scope of service. So does that sound fair? Right? Yep.
I think that's good, and we can. We're pretty flexible in how we approach things. If you want to do ultimately, if you want to do a tiered approach where you start here and then see what that is, and then decide if you want to go here, or we can lay out a roadmap to go, say the Cadillac version, and go there. It ultimately will be up to you as to what you'd like to do. We're pretty flexible with that. I mean, like I said.
Any other questions, comments, anything? Well, I'll make a motion that we authorize the city manager to proceed to negotiate a scope of services with Benish to perform the desired project and bring it back to the council in December.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you for your presentation today. Thanks, sir. Next is item number 27, convene an executive session pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code. 1, to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial or financial information that the governmental body has received from a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body, and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations. Or 2, to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect described by subdivision 1 as follows: downtown development. It is now 6:52. We're going into executive. Okay, everybody back. It's now 7:31. We're out of executive session. We had a discussion and no action was taken. Item number 28, reconvene okay, never mind. 29, future events. Anybody have any future events that he or she wants to discuss? If not, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second.